Hey, welcome back to Apple Seeds. I'm Mary Thompson here, back at the teaching farm with Chef Matt Cooper from The Preacher's Son. We are looking in pantries and gardens and helping inspire people with what they're making at home. This week we're able to take a look in another mayor's pantry. We got to take a look at Mayor Greg Hines' pantry. And what did you find, Matt?
So this is really cool because I love competing and I love being able to be creative in that way, and it's really typically what I do at home anyway. We found some canned corn, some potatoes, some Parmesan Reggiano cheese, and some canned tomatoes, which I think most people have in there, and then we're going to do a really cool recipe with that. So what do you got going on the farm that we can use today?
Yes, I want to show you the beets. They are just now in season for us here, and they look so fabulous. Let me pull one out for you. So we've got some really beautiful beet greens and the beets. And the thing I love about these too, they're one of the foods that help lower blood pressure. So any way I can find to add them into my diet is a really awesome find.
And I think those will be great because we can use those in a quick breakfast saute, and I think I can use those greens as well. What other things do you have that we can use for maybe garnish and internal garnish as well?
Yeah, so we have some snap peas coming on and some chives and spinach and lots of really great spring harvests.
Let's use it all.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on at Apple Seeds right now. What are y'all involved in during this crazy time?
Yes, it is a crazy time. Everything is different. We are staying as distant as possible, but growing a ton of food. So right now we've harvested about 800 pounds and shared it with schools and food pantries in Northwest Arkansas to really help the people that need it most right now.
God, I love that. That's awesome. I've always loved everything that y'all do here. The teaching component of this farm is so amazing. I've been able to have the opportunity to come out and teach some kids some knife skills and even some other people too. So it's just such a rewarding experience. And especially being spring, being able to see everything flower gives so much hope and life to everything when you see it. It really makes a difference.
It's amazing. It's usually the kids that are coming out and finding these snap pea shoots and realizing that they can eat not only the snap pea but the shoot too. So we're doing it a little bit differently, but still sharing what we can with Northwest Arkansas.
So delicious. Awesome. Well,
So we're here at Apple Seeds Farms, and I have the breakfast scramble that we're going to do for you guys. Really cool. I'm really excited about being able to work from Mayor Hines and Roger's pantry. So that's really cool. Again, we got potatoes, corn, tomatoes, and Parmesan cheese from his garden. We've already got the pan nice and hot with an adequate amount of neutral oil in the pan. I prefer to use a non-stick pan. I want to make sure that pan's super hot, because you want to caramelize these potatoes. We're going to start out with the potatoes. So you would normally do that, especially when you're working with like really hearty things like potatoes, sweet potatoes. The great thing about this recipe is you're going to see we're going to use a lot of different things. You can mix and mingle all different things. Like I said, I like to do the garbage disposal with my family to make sure all that produce gets used and we don't waste anything. So this is a great way to utilize products in your refrigerator, or potatoes that are starting to sprout, they're out on your counter and things like that. So we've got this oil nice and hot, the potatoes are going in. We're going to give them just a second, and then we're going to add some of the spring onions that we found from the garden, because we added those second because we don't want them to burn. We're going to add all the fragrant and light things like the spinach, the beet greens that we're going to use, and all the herbs right at the end to make sure that we keep those nice and fresh. Every recipe that I do for my breakfast, I think paprika and cumin are just in everything. Now you can mix and mingle all different types of spices. Now I like to cut up everything really small so it cooks quickly. Breakfast sautés and hashes tend to take a little bit of time. So we got the beets going in there. Again, it's going to talk a lot. Now this gives a great color. It gives a great earthiness to the dish as well. Those onions are going to add that little vibrant flavor that we want. So we've got our potatoes, we've got our beets in there. Now we're going to start really getting in there a little bit. We're going to be careful with the wet ingredients because we're going to add that moisture. So anything that was crispy before is going to be, it's going to loosen up. The good thing about acid and tomatoes, it's going to release all the fond that's in that skillet and all the flavor and bring it back to life and tie those flavors together. So right now we're going to put those spices in right before we put that, so that we bloom those spices and really get them fragrant. And see, look at that color, isn't that awesome? We'll get that going. We'll let that go for about 15-20 seconds until you can really start to smell it filling up the room and the air. And I'm telling you, this is the best part about this is we have all these fresh things that we're going to put on top right at the end, which is super cool. I've got a fried egg over here just ready to go that we've got pretty much good in the pan that we're going to put on top when we finish. So super excited about that. All right, we're going to test these just to make sure that that's the right texture. That's good. You want them to be cooked, but you still want some al dente. You still want it to be nice and firm. Okay, we're going to add salt at this point too to bring out those flavors a little bit more, right? And then we're going to go ahead and go with the corn. Now with corn, make sure you drain this really well as the tomatoes, because all this oil in here that's sauteing is going to pop with this a little bit. So you got to be careful. This is pretty much, we're all in going pretty quick right now. And with the tomatoes in there. So now you can use a wooden spoon to stir this. If you have a good saute skillet like this, then you can really get in there and have some fun. All right, we're going to give this about 1 minute, maybe a little less. For the sake of everything, because that's all pretty much cooked. And then we're going to add our spinach and our beet greens, final season, and then we're going to add our garnishes. So the super quick, you can let these things caramelize as much as you want. At home, I like to let it get really, really dark before I start doing that, but for the purpose of the demo, to make sure that we understand how to get everything done with the time, we're going to do it just like this. So that's about enough time. You can see that all the fond has come off the pan. Obviously it's not stiff, but you got all those flavors merging. We're going to go in with our spinach and our beet greens. It's going to look like a lot. And this should be good for, like, you know, for a party of, you know, a family of 4 or something like that. That'd be about right. You just do a few extra eggs and you're good to go. Or if you don't want to throw all these greens in there, you can always chop them up really fine like this, and then you can go straight with just a little bit of vinegar and olive oil and put that on bottom and put the hot hash on top, which is a great way to do that as well. We don't want that to wilt too much. We want the freshness of the greens, right? So we've got that good to go right there. We're going to put some parsley from the garden.
So a kid tip for this recipe, it is great to use these little potatoes with kids. If you have a wavy chopper, it is a great kid tool that actually makes the potato cut in waves. So you can get a nice, fun, wavy potato and have your kids participate in making this meal. You can always use a butter knife, and they can learn how to cut by keeping a tip down. So when kids are cutting the potatoes, they're eating the potatoes too. Get your kids involved.
We're just going to load this up with herbs, because that's what we really like to do, get all that freshness in there. Okay, a little bit of chives right there. All right, we're going to do a final test on that seasoning. Oh, that's good. That's perfect. Just enough. Those beets add such a nice earthy freshness to this, and it really ties everything together. And tomatoes and beets go perfect together anyway. So, you know, with the addition of beans and corn and stuff like that, you could make it, you could call it a succotash. But super fun, super easy, quick, utilizing things. We've got our nice little snap peas from the garden we're going to put on top. I love chaud-froid, which means hot cold. So spring's coming up, we do a lot of hot cold things. We've got these chives with the beautiful little chive flowers. You know, we're not afraid to cover all this stuff up, right? And then we're going to put this nice egg on top real quick. And then we'll do some more. So just like that. There we go. And then we're going to come back and not erase all of our pretty work that we just did. And look at this. We got these beautiful little spring flowers. We'll lay them like that. This one maybe even will come over here like that. You know, we got a little bit of radish. For good measure and texture. Right, there we go. And then just a little bit Parmigiano Reggiano cheese right at the end. And that's it, guys. Super easy, super beautiful, fun. Again, you can utilize anything in your kitchen to do this. And you know, you can keep it vegan by removing that egg, or put that on there, and dairy-free as well without the Parmesan. So I really appreciate the opportunity. These people are doing amazing things. Support them as much as you can, especially this time, and stay safe, guys.